I think you're going to be suicidal.
Yeah.
Did you? I don't even know if you know what you're saying?
Actually, I've heard the engineer at my book.
Yes, he
publisher's
right after
place.
my 18th birthday, I can clearly remember about 40 Met fans blowing and fucking me in my father's handicapped van. While Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band fucked Rue McClanahan up a wrinkled ass. About a week later, I fucked Howard Stern with a few different dildos as Gary and Benji slipped Benoit balls up in my disgusting asshole and shit in my mouth, which a lot of whores have done to me since. God, was that fantastic.
You might not want to show your face around.
Look for Too Fat to Fish November 11th. Howard, by the way, Gary's doing this really crazy thing.
What?
Every time someone brings up the Mets to him, he brings up Paul Newman. Like people are busting his balls outside, so he's like going, how can we even talk about baseball today? The big story is Paul Newman. He's a great actor.
Artie, that so didn't happen.
No, that's what happened. No, because Scott said Ryan Howard was a Philly, and Gary went, all right, Paul Newman.
I just ignored him.
No, but
in other words, he said Ryan Howard. I'm like, I'm not going to fucking deal with him, so I was talking to John about Paul Newman.
Oh, my goodness.
I was ignoring him. That's the story. It's not going to bring up Paul Newman. Artie.
How can we even talk about baseball?
I hope you choke on your own laughter.
How could we talk about baseball? That's secondary. Paul Newman is dead.
You know I didn't say that.
Yeah, right? I know, but that's your attitude.
No, you know I didn't say that at all. He said Ryan
You wouldn't even have mentioned Paul Newman today if the Mets won.
Of course I did. The fucking guy died.
Right, so.
I love Paul Newman.
And the Mets season died.
But you're trying to make a joke that doesn't exist.
Well, okay, you know what? You're right. That was in my... But Scott DePace thought the same thing.
Well, Scott DePace is stupid.
During my 1-month college career, I took a disgusting shit in front of a crowd of total strangers while blowing Keith Hernandez and Darryl Strawberry.
Ooh.
I was a little drunk, so I fucked Robin in her asshole with hot dogs and butt plugs. And then Howard put me on his shoulders so I could shit out some heroin into his mouth, which wasn't easy under the circumstances.
You know what was great about that? The engineer who did that at the book place, at the audio book place, I walk out and he goes, I'm a big fan.
Robin, go ahead and wrap up. Please.
Yes, speaking of the Mets.
Yes.
Don't do this. Paul Newman died. How could you bring this up?
We already talked about him, so I have to talk about something else.
Don't be stupid.
There were a lot of long faces in Flushing, New York yesterday as the Mets played their final game ever at Shea Stadium and lost to the Florida Marlins 4-2.
You know what happened? The last World Series game ever, Met fans will appreciate this, though. The last World Series game ever at Shea Stadium, the Yankees beat them.
Oh, God, you're sick. For the second straight year, the Mets were eliminated from postseason play on the final day.
And the shittiest team in fucking baseball.
Imagine on the last day, the stadium, everyone's there. You think they would have come through.
And Gary's so right. What a dumb move. They scheduled the celebration after the game.
Yeah.
Play
That's some
3-6.
celebration.
3-6.
All right. Bad timing.
I've been a season ticket holder for 10 years. This is the biggest disgrace in New York sports history ever.
That's one of the fans.
That's a fan.
After the game, most fans stayed for a moving ceremony with great players like Mike Piazza, Tom Seaver, Dwight Gooden, Howard Johnson, and Mookie Wilson. The Mets
Think how many people would have stayed if they'd won.
Yeah, and had a party.
Right.
45 seasons at Shea Stadium and will play next season at the new Citi Field, which is located right next door.
They're going to start an entire new era of tragedy at a new field.
Yeah, Dan, you're on the air.
This fan is also furious with the latest Mets meltdown. 3-7.
This is miserable. 3 years in a row, I've been here for the last game, and it's like deja vu. No runs throughout the first 6 innings. It felt like the NLCS in 06.
Dan, go ahead.
Hey, what's going on, Howard?
Hey.
I just wanted to ask Gary Dell'Abate there what he thinks of the Mets. 2 weeks ago, he was talking shit, telling Artie that, you know, the Mets are still going to be playing and the Yankees are done, and now we got the Phillies, took them all out. That's right. And Gary's sitting there like, hey, boss, I don't know what to do. Now,
yeah, I think we should have covered that, douchebag. If you've been listening all morning, we covered it.
Not
I
really.
we covered it, but I called in 2.5 hours ago, and nobody picked me up, so now I got to get my frustration out.
Sir, anything on Paul Newman?
Yeah, The Hustler and The Color of Money were his two best movies.
Paul Newman said he was glad he was dying because he didn't have to watch the Mets lose.
Gary, will you finally now raise your
fuck you. Go fuck
raise your kids to be Yankee fans? These poor kids, the last 3 years, like they've got this father hammering home this awful team into their head, and they just get set up for disappointment after disappointment. It's horrible.
He's got a point. Why not raise Jackson and Lucas?
I began to think that myself yesterday.
Why not raise Jackson and Lucas to be Yankee fans?
What if they were Padres fans? Then what would already
Then they'd be gay.
They're from New York.
I will tell you that Jackson was so upset yesterday. I mean, he was first of all, 2 nights before when they lost, he was like throwing things. Just getting into that period where he really lives and dies with the team.
Do you know what? You're training them to be losers. You're training them like they're going to be okay.
What do you think the Yankees are on course to have some great? You think they're going to have another run?
You think they're going to have
another run? The Yankees.
Listen to me. You think I'm joking around? What's the most important thing in a kid's life when he's Jackson's age?
So everybody in Pittsburgh is gay? Answer the question.
No, listen.
The Pittsburgh Pirates fans, they're all gay?
Not gay.
Well, they live in Pittsburgh. You have two teams to choose from.
And so
his point is, why not go with the team that wins more?
Right. Because let me tell you something. If we were in a different era, the Yankees couldn't win a game between 1965 and 1977.
Right.
So then, at that point, the Mets would have won a World Series. Had been to another one, you go, gee, support the Mets.
Well,
the
that's
Yankees
why.
suck.
But that's why you're a Met fan. That's why you're a Met fan.
It's very cyclical.
That's why you're a Met fan. If you had trained them to be Yankee fans, they'd already have 4 championships in their lifetime of their favorite team.
Listen,
these poor kids.
I'm not a front runner.
Would you sit?
If I had season tickets, I'd actually go to the game.
Would you ever tell them that you're converting?
They can do whatever they want, but I'm not converting.
Well, no, but he's their dad. They want to look up to him. I mean, my father taught me to be a Yankee fan. It's like
it'll probably be strange for them the first 2 months, but by the next year they'll be ecstatic when they
win.
Of course.
I'm not so sure the Yankees are going to go on another great winning streak.
Fair enough. So stick with the Mets and
so,
Artie, you stick with the Yankees. Come on, Robin, go ahead and wrap up the news.